Out of the depths I call you. Something is happening in this song that is impossible. Let's listen to it.
With the Lord there is mercy and fullness of redemption. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my voice in supplication. If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, Lord, who can stand? But with you is forgiveness, that you may be revered. I trust in the Lord. My soul trusts in his word. More than sentinels wait for the dawn. Let Israel wait for the Lord. For with the Lord is kindness, and with him is plenteous redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all their iniquities. With the Lord there is mercy and fullness of redemption.
Out of the depths I call to you, O Lord. You know, I've always pictured this wrong. I was thinking of a man sitting in a dark hole, a pit, maybe some kind of underground cell. But that's not what the singer is talking about. The word that's used for depths refers to deep waters, waters of the sea. Now, have you ever tried calling from the depths of the sea? It's impossible. You drown. So, in this psalm, the impossible happens. And it happens with an impossible expectation, the expectation of being heard. Water, of course, is when it surrounds you on every side like a smothering blanket. There is no way that anyone is going to hear you. There's this famous tagline from the movie Alien: "In space no one can hear you scream." Well, the same goes for the sea. So, still, when singing this song, we ask for attentive ears. We expect to be heard, despite the deepness of our depths, despite the fact that there seems to be no way out and no way to call for help. The depths could be anything. It could be any situation you are fighting to get out of. It could be a sense of listlessness. It could be a sickness. It could be a conflict that you don't know how to solve. But in this song, the singer connects misery with sin, a personal failing and shortcoming. The depth is also some sort of indebtedness. So he says, if God keeps an account, no one can make a stand. In this verse, incidentally, two names are used for God, both of which are translated as Lord. But the first Lord is a translation of Yah, which is the name of God, an abbreviation of the name, God who makes a covenant with his people. And the second one is Adonai, which emphasizes God's lordship over everything. So if the Lord keeps an account of sins, who can stand? Yet in this depth, this sense of shortcoming, hope is born, and the confidence is expressed. With you is forgiveness, that you may be feared. Apparently, the divine forgiveness carries some sense of a narrow escape, of an unexpected getting out of the situation that was about to destroy you, that there was no way to get out of. Being forgiven then is not meaningless, and it doesn't mean that you go back to a carefree life like before. It means that you learn to look up, that the surge of relief that you may or may not feel helps you to look up to God. There was one person writing about this psalm who mentioned that in 1905 a Welshman in a religious revival translated this verse as, "There is forgiveness with thee, enough to frighten us." And he added, which, if not an accurate translation, is a fine exposition. As we go on in the psalm, the emotion intensifies, and we hear this by the repetition of words. I look to the Lord, I look to him, I await his word. I am more eager for the Lord than watchers for the morning, than watchers for the morning. It's repeated. We're not quite sure who these watchers are. The most obvious thing would be to assume that they are military watchmen, sentinels, keeping watch because they're on guard duty. It's also possible that the word refers to priests who are waiting for the correct time to make their morning sacrifices. Anyhow, there is a sense of expectation that somehow in the darkness of the night, at some point, light will pierce through and relieve them of their guard duty. In the last part of the psalm, two things are said about God. One of them is that he has chesed, that he has loyal love, the love of his covenant that can't be destroyed by anything. A love that is patient and unconditional. The other one is that with God there is redemption. This word is used twice. God ransoms his people, he redeems his people, he buys them back. This has to do, of course, with the image of keeping accounts. God is not willing to let his peoples remain in debt, and if necessary, he will pay the price himself. I always assumed that this concluding part was by the same speaker as everything that came before. So he starts with, "Out of the depths I cry to you," and in the end he talks about God as someone with whom there is forgiveness. and fullness of redemption. But there is also another way to read this. Because before, the singer has said, I await his word. And we could read this concluding part as God's word, addressed to the singer and to his entire people. And this makes sense, because this is a song that pilgrims used to sing on their way to Jerusalem. And you could say they are already singing with expectation the word that will be addressed to them in the temple. Israel, wait for the Lord. With him there is fullness of redemption.